Welcome to Your Number Man, where we share financial strategies, business insights, and inspiring stories to help you navigate a successful business. I am your host, Johan Zanik, and my goal is to help you achieve a bigger life in business. Welcome to episode 4 in season 3. Today, I am very pleased to announce that I've got a guy with a funny accent like me as well in the studio today. He's also an expat from fellow South African, and his name is Trevor Taylor. Now, Trevor has an extensive background in marketing. He's currently the CEO of Strathalbyn Racing Club, and I've met Trevor about 8 years ago when he was the business growth strategist at the Regional Development Australia, or the RDA. And during his time, he built up and managed the largest business-to-business group of more than 50 providers in regional South Australia. The area that he covered was the Barossa, Gawler, Light and Adelaide Plain Council regions, and he serviced over 3,000 businesses in this area. Now, other positions that Trevor held was the General Manager of Muswellbrook Racecourse. He was also the Chairman of Australia Marketing Institute in South Australia, the Marketing Manager at Adelaide Casino, and the State Sales Manager of Sony. And I just want to warn you a little bit, we're going to be a little bit academic today because Trevor studied marketing in South Africa and he's done his MBA there as well, and then he became a chartered marketer. And then he came out to Australia and he studied professional management at Adelaide Uni and completed a diploma in disruptive strategy and sustainable strategy through the Harvard Business School. So we're going to throw a lot of textbook stuff at you today, but Trevor's a great down-to-earth guy, so we're going to try and keep it as practical as possible today. Trevor, welcome. Welcome to the Number Man podcast, or as they say in South Africa, how's it, boot?
Thank you, Johan. I appreciate it. And listen, it's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm grateful to be sharing some experience with your listeners. And hopefully out of this podcast, we can actually help some of those small businesses, because that's where my heart is. And that's the reason for today's podcast is we know small business is looking after 4.7 million employees in Australia. Mm-hmm. And that's 41% of the total workforce comes through small business. So if we can help share some of our ideas and business strategies, that's great.
That's a great stat. That's 4.7 million people are involved with small businesses.
Are employed through small business. So it creates 4.7 million employees. So that's why small massive, business is so important. I think that's why I've been extremely passionate about small business, is just the importance of small business in all the small towns in the community.
That is massive. Yeah, it's the biggest employer in Australia. Yeah, that's amazing. Now, Trev, you've held a lot of senior marketing positions through your life, and you've launched loyalty programs both locally and internationally. Could you share how your career has evolved and how your academic background helped you to navigate this marketing landscape?
Yes, John. If you have a look a little bit in my background, I'm a chartered marketer of, let's say, South Africa through the Marketing Association of South Africa. And the chartered marketer status is very similar to like a chartered accountant. We focus on the expertise of having the marketing knowledge, the skill and experience, and then you focus a little bit on the ethical side where chartered marketers have a strict ethical standard. And then the main thing is your continued learning and development to stay as a chartered marketer. So you have to do an exam, but we focus very strongly on the actual stats. When you do any marketing, we have a look at a post-analysis and say, did that marketing work or not? And I think that's a slight difference with the chartered marketers and a normal marketeer, is normal marketeers might just do advertising, but are they also doing the post-analysis and really looking at it? So I think that's important, and that differentiates the differences between a marketeer and a chartered marketeer.
And it's all based on strategy.
It is. It's very strongly based on strategy, very strongly based on research. And then for you to keep your chartered market status, you have to also self-develop, learn. And I think that's helped me a lot, is that I'm continually learning. And even today, you continually research and find out new things.
That's amazing. And we did mention strategic marketing. In essence, can you give us a short definition of strategic marketing?
Yes, I think this is extremely important to understand that strategic marketing is the process of developing and implementing a long-term approach to achieving a company's marketing goals by aligning it with overall business objectives. Unlike tactical marketing, which focuses on day-to-day promotional activities, strategic marketing involves your high-level planning that ensures a business marketing effort contributes meaningfully to its competitive position and long-term growth. And strategic marketing also helps businesses gain a sustainable competitive edge by focusing on what they do best and how to differentiate themselves from competitors. And differentiation today, Johan, if there's a lot of small businesses, is so important. And we'll fall a little bit back on, I know you've interviewed Dave from Brown's Barossa Donuts, and Dave, he differentiated his product in that he produces a sourdough donut. And if you go into his shop, you'll see Dave actually measuring every bit of dough before it actually goes into his dough machine where it rises and he bakes the actual donuts. So he's differentiated his product, and that's why it's extremely successful. And when I recall a couple of years back when myself and you worked with Dave and we helped him with getting a grant through government and setting up, it was really his differentiation strategy that created quite a good sustainable business. And that's so important. He employed 5 people, and that was just after COVID, I recall, and opened up his business. So differentiation is so important, and strategic is focusing on that long-term approach.
It's that point of difference. And as we say, in the bean counting world or the management accounting world, is if you got that point of difference, you can be a price maker, not a price taker. Hey?
That's spot on.
And that's exactly what Dave's good at. And a lot of other good business owners out there is they've positioned their products. It fits the market to a glove almost, that you can basically ask what the real value of that donut or that product for that matter. So, okay, Trevor, over the years, marketing has undergone significant changes. I grew up in the era where we talked about the 4 Ps, and that's my personal favorite. It's product, promotion, price, and place. But then again, I'm old school, and I've studied marketing back in the early 90s. So obviously a lot has changed. You get the 3 Cs as well: customer, cooperation, competition. And in today's more customer-eccentric approaches, we like to talk about the 4 As, which is awareness, accessibility, affordability, and accessibility. Now, can you break all this down, and is there still a place for all this old textbook kind of stuff within your marketing strategy?
I think marketing has truly evolved, as has the digital and social media communication landscapes. If we think that the 4P marketing mix model was created in the 1960s by Jerome McCarthy, we didn't even have mobiles or internet in the 1960s. So there is a massive change from the 4P academic model that everyone follows. Mobiles were invented in 1973 by Motorola. And if you remember, Johan, we used to have those big bricks that we used to carry around as those big, thick batteries.
Yeah, you know? I remember it well.
And then internet was born in like 1983. So years back, if we looked at the 4 Ps, we possibly focused on newspapers, radio, and posters. It's interesting how I think marketing's progressed with technology as it's moved on. We've had to use technology in a big way. So, if we go back to today, we focus more on an integrated communication strategy where we try and connect to our customers in various medias, from Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, to mobile marketing, to TVs, websites, CRM, podcasts, Google AdWords. So the whole marketing landscape, when we especially talk around about promotion, that has changed and evolved. So when we put a strategic plan together, you need to use various medias and platforms to connect or touch your customers today. If we move to the 4As, I think the 4As, which is the latest model of marketing created by Jagdish Shes, who's a marketing professor at Emory University, it's really focusing on our future, where we're focusing more now on environment, doing good, sustainability, and looking at the future. If we look at acceptability, this covers the functional and psychological side of things, where if you're producing plastic bags or plastic straws, that's not good. So that's not acceptable. Will your product be accepted by society? Will it cause harm? Then we looked at affordability, and this can pertain to psychological and economic affordability. So there's a lot of psychological side that goes into that A. And then if we look at accessibility, if we go back to the 1960s when the 4P, and we look at place might have just been one town, but today we've got a whole global world out there when we market products, especially with the e-commerce and availability of products. We sell globally through Amazon, Alibaba, eBay. Then as you move to the last A, that's awareness. This focuses on product knowledge and brand awareness. So we can see we've evolved from the 4 Ps that was created in the 1960s, which is so important. And my business approach today is more focused on customer relationship management and looking at a long-term customer relationships. Focuses on database marketing and relationship marketing with good service, which is so important today.
So what you're saying here is try to get as much data as possible from your customers as well.
And research is so important.
And that's why probably Google has been so successful over the years, because they know everything.
Yeah, the whole platform of social and digital media and the way of understanding your customers' wants and needs has changed today. And there's so much research out there on various demographics and cultural and religious groups and what products they are looking for. So I think the main thing is today companies are focusing on sustainability, focusing on the environment, and a lot of products that maybe years back that we produced under the 4 Ps, today we're changing. And I think there's legislation now that you're not allowed to use plastic straws, etc., because it doesn't do good for the environment.
There's a lot of that stuff going on as well. But then again, if the market decided they want, even though there's a lot of people, and I'm probably one of them, that say McDonald's is probably not the healthiest thing on earth, but if the market wants McDonald's, they're going to give you McDonald's.
Yeah.
So it all depends on the market as well. You know?
Yeah, I think there's a convenience factor with McDonald's that people are time poor, and McDonald's can give you your hamburger within a couple of minutes.
Yeah, and then you talked about the digital platforms, the social media, data analytics, and the way that business approach strategic marketing. And what are some of the opportunities that you see in today's market for business to gain that competitive edge?
It's an interesting question because our whole world has changed around social media marketing, which uses platforms like Instagram, used to Twitter, it's called now X, and Facebook to promote brands, engage with customers. It encompasses promoting like new products, interacting with customers through comments, and creating content that reflects a brand's values and storytelling. Storytelling is extremely important with a brand. If we look at the data-driven approach, which is essential for measuring the success of social media strategy, these metrics help brands understand audiences' perceptions and the effectiveness of their content. And some examples of important metrics to track include like your reach, your clicks, your engagement, and organic and paid likes, follower growth, and conversion rate. And if we want to increase brand awareness, the social media metrics that you can focus on today, and I won't delve too deep into them, but just some points is like reach. Has the post reach is the number of unique users who saw your post, how much of your content actually reaches user feeds. And then we go to impressions. At the post level, impressions are how many times a post is displayed to somebody. And then you get hashtag performance. What were your most used hashtags?
Yeah.
Which hashtags were most associated with your brand? And having these answers can help shape the focus of your content going forward. And then there's video views. Videos are extremely powerful I call them the Google spiders, and you can get quite a good activity on your website by using video views. And this sometimes comes off as a vanity metric, but on certain channels like TikTok, views count as impressions, and are therefore important to monitor.
Yeah, and TikTok is probably so powerful these days. It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more entertainment, and I think it's that younger target market that's really been enthralled by TikTok and having a look at all the entertainment around it.
But people can put really crap on TikTok as well. I think my lads, they've grilled an egg on a sideway on a 40-degree day, and I think they got like 2,500 hits.
I mean, if we look at, let's say now in 2024, the top social media platforms in Australia, and we go to TikTok, which you're talking about, they've got over 9.7 million users, and there's rapid growth. So TikTok is becoming a key platform now.
That's Australia. Is that Australia?
That's in Australia, 9.7 million users. And I mean, our population in Australia is only 26 million, and TikTok's only been around since 2016.
Yeah.
So you look at the growth of 9.7 million. It's particularly the younger audiences and advertisers. So it has the highest average usage time per month, which reflects its increasing importance. So TikTok is a very powerful media out there for the youngsters. And then you go to YouTube. YouTube in 2005 was developed and launched And that's the most widely used platform in Australia with an ad reach of around 20.8 million users. So that represents 86.5% of the current population. And it remains a favorite for video consumption. YouTube is extremely important. I think there's some stats in America that more people watch YouTube than they're actually watching TV. So that again shows you how marketing's changing from the 1960s when we had the 4Ps.
And you put everything on YouTube these days. If you go and buy a vacuum cleaner, you don't get instructions with the vacuum cleaner anymore. You can go to YouTube and you get instructions there.
Oh, it's extremely helpful. And then we look at Facebook. I mean, Facebook it was only launched in 2004. So it's not that old. It's still highly popular. Facebook boosts a potential ad reach of 16.65 million users, or again, 66% of internet users in Australia. So it's very useful for advertisers targeting what I'll call a broad demographic. And then Instagram. Instagram was launched around about 2010, and that's used by around 13.95 million Australians. So Instagram is especially popular among also the younger demographics. And its ad reach has grown about nearly 20%. And then the business groups, I know when we ran the B2B group, LinkedIn is is a professional networking platform that has 15 million members, with its influence growing steadily in the B2B space. So that's where you'll find if you are wanting to sell accounting packages like Xero or MyOb, that would be your social media platform. So these platforms dominate Australia's social media landscape and are the key for businesses looking to engage with their target audiences. So, for example, you can reach 100,000 people very easily by placing Facebook adverts at a very cheap, effective price to drive sales. So you're getting your run for your money.
And then SEO?
Yeah, we moved to like digital marketing, which SEO is search engine optimization. That's a process of improving your website to increase visitors from Google, Microsoft Bing, and other search engines like Yahoo. Whenever people search for products you sell, services you provide, information on topics in which you have expertise or experience, the better visibility your pages have in the search results, the more likely are you to be found and visited.
So is SEO still a big thing these days? I mean,
it's massive. Google AdWords, I'm currently putting Google AdWords in place because you can get keywords that people search for. So let's say if you are an accountant and it's the tax time, you might put in your mobile phone, let's say for argument's sake, accountants Adelaide. And that's an ad word that you've paid for. And then you'll find that you'll get activity because when people click on that, it basically takes people to your website. So there's a massive opportunity. And then you get the search engine marketing, which is a digital marketing practice aimed at improving a website's visibility in search engines through paid ads and unpaid results. And you'll see some websites, when you do use your mobile phone, they'll have the little AD next to it. That means they've actually paid Google for specific AdWords to rank them higher. This is where the whole platform's changed. And then you get your Meta for Business Manager, which is a specialized platform designed to cater for unique needs of businesses operating in the digital sphere. So it's a centralized hub that allows businesses to manage various aspects of their digital presence, from social media accounts to advertising campaigns. And it unifies content creation and your scheduling and messaging. So it's being used in a very big way.
Okay. Now, can I just ask a question? One of my first jobs back in South Africa was to put ads on buses and a big outdoor advertising. How big is that still today?
It's growing. At the end of the day, it's still a very powerful media because Coca-Cola still uses big billboards. And I think it's to refresh your brand to consumers. And then it's again that what I call the integrated marketing approach, where companies are using social media, digital media, and then outside advertising such as your billboards, just to refresh their brand in the consumer's mind. So all those things are important. I suppose you have to ask yourself, where are you going to get your best return of investment? Do you spend $20,000 a month on a billboard? Or can you get a better return of investment through social media and, let's say, Google AdWords and Facebook AdWords? So that's where it all depends on budgets.
Okay, so now you're talking my language. Now we've got to talk is what's going to give you the best return of investment, or mileage, as they would say. Because I'm a big firm believer that you're not going to put $1 into your business if you're not going to get that dollar back, plus some additional on top of it as well. And a lot of people put a lot of money into advertising.
And I think that's where, as a chartered marketer, and I would think a lot of marketeers today now, are analyzing what they're doing. So the bottom line is, let's say, for argument's sake, if you're a hotel group, they'll want to know, did your occupancy increase? Did your beds increase? So marketing should relate back to revenue growth and sales. And if it doesn't, you possibly might be utilizing the wrong media. And I think that's where the analysis needs to come in, Johan, especially from the numbers point of view.
Yep, numbers are important.
And then we can go to the other metrics that you do have is the pay-per-click advertising. You've got email marketing. You've got heat maps. Even heat maps help to visualize web page activity by highlighting where users click and how far they scroll on a page. Then you've got mobile-first web design. So this means web pages are designed with mobile users' need and preferences in mind first and scaled up for larger devices. Think of mobile-first as a traditional responsive design process inverted. And mobile marketing is massive. There's something like 21 billion mobiles in the world, and our population's only 7.2 billion of people. So people have got more mobiles. Some people got 2, 3. I'm sitting with 2 on my desk today. One's a work one and one's my private for one. Yeah. And then you get to the Google Analytics, which is a free-to-use web analytic tool that tracks a range of insights, such as how users find a website and what they do once on the website. Now, for example, online store owners can see data about revenues, customer demographics, while blog managers can track the page views, user engagements, and more. And then we move to our website traffic, which relates to a number of web visitors that visit a web page. Then you get conversion rate. The conversion rate is the percentage of web visitors who take on a desired action, such as signing up for an email list or making a purchase.
Is that difficult to track, your conversion rate?
No, it's all sitting there. It's just really trying to get the time. So your conversion rate is really the total amount of conversions divided by the total website visits times 100. But it's really just going back and analyzing everything you do. And a lot of the analytical tools are all formulated for you today. And then you get your engagement rate and the percentage of web visitors who are actively engaged with a website. So that's reading your content and interacting with web elements such as web forms and navigation menus. And then we even get the bounce back rates. And bounce back rate is a percentage of web visitors who leave a web page without taking any action. And a web page that does not convert any users towards the desired action of the content creator is a page that is adding no value to its owner. So a high bounce rate can often indicate an area of a website that needs to be optimized.
So you want to go and have a look at your bounce rate and go and see a specialist. Okay, what can I do? Why don't people get more engaged with my website?
That's spot on. That could do with your content. So people have to be very careful when they put websites together to make them interesting. And then to gain the whole competitive advantage, business owners need to use customer relationship management correctly, social media, SEM and SEO. And if they do that all well, they can get a good return on their buck.
Yeah, you did mention customer relationship management. I think that's a very critical tool for business today to maintaining long-term customer relations. But what do you think are the core elements of an effective CRM strategy and the role it fulfills in your marketing strategy?
Yeah, Jan, if there are any marketing managers out there or anyone that's studying marketing at university, personally believe this is one of the most important concepts of modern marketing. As the number man, this will give you the best return of investment on your dollar spent. And I'm quite happy to debate this with any of your listeners, but I'm going to give you a bit of an example where, you know, the casino industry, and I've been in the casino industry overseas but they've been 10 years, if not 20 years ahead of many corporate companies, and they've got CRM programs that are $1 million programs. They've spent a huge amount of money. Now, if I go back to the 1980s in the casino industry, we were using cameras and facial recognition then. I'm going back to the 1980s. So when you got to the main gate that you entered into the casino overseas and you pushed the button, above that button, actually, there was a camera, and that camera actually took a photograph of my customer. Yeah. And then sent it through to my CRM program, and it would notify the person at the front desk that Sheila Edwards, our number one customer, had just entered the casino.
Okay.
Then my customer service person would have a look at the CRM and see that she would love, let's say for argument's sake, a vodka and lemonade. They quickly rush to the bar, get a vodka and lemonade, and as My customer arrives and gets out of the car. There is the vodka and lemonade ready for her. And she's blown away about the customer service and the experience that she's received just on entering the casino. And that's only because of facial recognition. So, facial recognition, the casinos and the gaming industry was already way ahead of everybody. And I'm going back to the 1980s.
Yeah.
And only now we're starting to talk about facial recognition today.
Wow.
And then if we take this concept to small business, and there's a lot of small business owners out there, and I'm talking about customer relationship marketing, it's basically moving your business from what I call transaction marketing to long-term customer relationships. Now, why spend thousands on advertising when you have customers walk into your business, make a purchase, and then you never see them again? Now, this might happen at stores like, let's say, Harvey Norman or something to that effect. That's what I call a transaction when they spend a lot of money. Now, does it not make better sense to capture your customer details? Now, let's take a small bakery and coffee shop.
Or a donut shop in Tanunda. Yeah.
Correct. They can put a simple promotion in place where a customer drops off a business card or fills in their details on a slip of paper, and you do a draw. And after a month where you give away, let's say, a $50 bakery voucher to the winner. Now, you've collected all these business cards. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, a small little business owner is running a bakery. He's got 500 business customer cards. After a month, you open up a spreadsheet, enter the customer details in, and you've got their mobile numbers and their emails. Now you can start marketing to your customer base with SMS, text, or email marketing, and you can use MailChimp to communicate to your customers. So imagine after a year, a small business owner's got 6,000 customers. How great is that when you want to run some direct promotions around Father's Day or Mother's Day and you want to drive visitation into your bakery or your small little coffee shop? So you're talking directly to your target market, and that's so important. You're not doing shotgun marketing, and then you can build a long-term relationship with your customers and have a share of their wallet over a number of years. So this marketing is far more effective than doing what I call shotgun marketing in newspapers, radio, or any other media, where you're just hoping to capture someone to drive them to your business.
Yeah. And this customer already has gotten a feel for your product, because the end of the day is we want to make people feel better.
Correct.
We are selling dopamine, isn't it? What we as marketers do, isn't it?
And I can remember working with a bakery to try and drive their visitation, and they had been in business for 30 years in the rural area, in the small town, and they didn't have one customer's data captured. But they had been operating that long. So we really do need to start capturing our customer data, especially if you're in a small business. And then if you have a large business, there are some good CRMs, from small CRMs like Capsule to like bigger ones that are HubSpot, Salesforce you would have heard about, Microsoft Dynamics you would have heard about. Just have a look at the budget that you've got as a business, and then what do you need from your customer relationship management platform. And it's really collecting data and using emails as a marketing communication tool. Capsule might even be one of the smaller ones for a smaller business. So there's a number of them out there. Your customers can Google and have a chat to the reps and find out what will suit them.
No, you're right. At the end of the day, if there's two coffee shops in a small little town, you're going to prefer the one where the people say, "Hey, Johan, how's it going today? Oh, you're going to have a long black today."
The relationships are important. I think that's where Chibo's in Australia has got it right. For your birthday, you'll get a free cup of coffee. You can order online your coffee. So they're also using technology now where I can remember working in the Gawler Innovation Hub and going to the Chibo's app and then just ordering my coffee, and I walk down there and within 5 minutes it's ready, and they've taken my points off because I've been purchasing a huge amount of coffee, so I'm getting points for my purchases. So I see that as loyalty, and it ties up that customer with that business.
Yeah, that's so powerful, isn't it? And then obviously this slots into loyalty programs, because you're a bit of a guru when it comes to loyalty programs. That's something that I forgot to say, that Trevor wrote this book, Explain How Loyalty Programs Are a Great Way to Drive Customer Retention and Increase Revenue. What was that book's name again, Trev?
Attaining Ultimate Results from Your Loyalty Club. It's sold on Amazon.com, and I did this because what I was trying to promote, and you don't make a huge amount of money out of books today, but what I'm trying to promote was the importance of long-term relationships and actually mining the data of your customers. I can give you a good example where you tailor loyalty programs to meet customer expectations. And Johan, for example, Priceline. So Priceline has over 7 million members. So that's a third of Australia's population. So they've got this data. They can segment their customer group. They can target specific promotions to these segments. They could use it for research. When customers' visitation declines, they can then activize and incentivize to reactivate visitation and spend. So you can also analyze what product, especially in Priceline, where they're spending their dollars on, and you can activate new similar brands and products into the product life cycle to improve the sales. And then you can segment your customers into that customer spend life cycle and use various promotional strategies to target customers in the introduction, growth, mature, and decline stages. So I think Priceline is an extremely powerful business in Australia where they can segment on demographics, drive product sales to various demographic groups and geographic groups. By them using a CRM tool, it's a great way of driving revenue, but more focused on the long-term wallet and purchase retention.
So it's about a long-term effectiveness. And how do you actually measure this effectiveness of these loyalty programs?
I'm going to give you a good example because you're the numbers man and we need to get back to our numbers. So I'm going to tell you what happened on a Monday.
All right.
So I arrived at Monday on work as marketing director, and this was in the casino industry, and we had a number of restaurants, and we also had gaming floors, and we had tables and that, and we had extremely terrible winter weather where it was cold and wet over the weekend and heavy downpour. So all our bars, restaurants, and gaming rooms were way below budget. And this was due to low visitation, which is understandable, and revenue was dismal. So how do you rectify this? Now, any other marketing manager might say, oh, we need to just increase advertising and again, possibly maybe do shotgun marketing. But we had a good database and we went to our customer relationship management database. And this is where we had an advantage over other businesses that don't have CRM. So I segmented our customers and I went to the gold tier group. And I pulled 2,500 members' contact details. We then created, now we're talking Monday, so we've done this on Monday. We then created and designed what we call a DL flyer that goes into an envelope. And we also created a promotion where you get an entry ticket to win 10,000 in cash. And we broke the prize up from like first place, 5,000, 2,500 second, 1,500 third, and 1,000 fourth. Plus, we incentivized those members for 5,000 points if they gamed on the coming Saturday. So we're talking now within a week, I have to try and rectify our budgets and try and get us back onto budget. So the DL flyer and entry ticket was designed, was printed, it got posted out late Tuesday afternoon. It was in most of our members' post boxes by that Friday. We ended up activating, and here it goes back to the figures. So just remember, from 2,500 gold tier members, we activated 1,099 gold members to come and visit on a Saturday. That's approximately 44%. And we generated a turnover of 339,000 in gaming, which also we had big sales in our bars, restaurants. So without a database, you wouldn't be able to drive visitation or activate revenue that quickly in a few days. And this is really what I'm trying to get through to small business owners and business owners is start collecting information on your customers, because without that data, I would never have been able to rectify my budget or revenue so quickly.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. As we know, a lot of businesses see customers disengaging from their loyalty programs over time. What is the best way to keep them interested? And specifically, we as small business owners keep our programs fresh and exciting.
Yeah, this is so important. And I think when we talk of loyalty programs that don't work, and there might be a number of your listeners in the car saying, yes, I don't like this loyalty program and I possibly disagree, loyalty programs don't work. It's because the loyalty program hasn't been set up correct. Now, I love accountants, but sometimes you have to keep accountants out of the boardroom when you actually set up a loyalty base. Leave it to the marketeers, because accountants look at marketing as a cost center, and it doesn't have to be a cost center. So you need to first research your customers' wants and needs when creating and deciding on the correct benefits for members. Create what I call a valued loyalty club. Differentiate it to your competitors, create a good brand, good communication strategy and experience. Incentivize well for retention and shopping. So reward your high-value customers. Don't treat everyone the same. Now, the main reasons for customers being disengaged is the following. Reward or points were not worth the effort. And that's what I call the accountant's formula, where you spend $10 and we'll give you 1 cent back. So
bloody bean counters. Yeah.
Oh, Brad Reynolds is not going to be happy with us. No. But it's really got to do with putting a bit of reward. Instead of maybe 1 cent, when a person spends $10, could you give them 10 cents back? So make sure that you are giving back to your customer for his loyalty. And then the reward benefits sometimes might seem unappealing. The point redemption process might be very complicated. Customers hate, if they want to redeem their points, let them redeem them as quick as possible. All the reward points expire before I could use them. And the rules or conditions changed, making it harder to earn or redeem. Now, I just want to give another good example, Johan, about a big company that most people would know is Costco. And the wholesale giant Costco globally in like 2024, they had 127 million members, and they charge, I think it's around about $60 per annum for their membership. And this is their cheaper membership. It's what they call the Gold Star membership. Now, can you imagine, Johan, if you were the financial director, your annual cash revenue is $7.62 billion. Wouldn't you like to be the financial director and have that cash flow at the start of each year?
I won't have any hair left.
Even in their fiscal year in 2023, so I'm going back in the last financial year, Costco reported total revenue of $242.3 billion. And we're talking American dollars. But this figure includes the net sales and membership fees across its global operation. So not a bad business for the numbers, man. And I think that's telling you that their membership of having 127 million members is extremely powerful. Can you imagine the data they would have on those members, what they're purchasing and that? Yeah. And there's Costco, there's Priceline. Priceline, in their last financial report, stated that members spend 30% more on products than non-members. So again, that's just showing you how good these loyalty clubs can be in driving revenue, but they must be done properly. And there must be a lot of research. Don't just sit as an autocrat in the boardroom and put the benefits together yourself without talking to your customers.
So our challenge, I just got to bring, so our challenge here as small business owners is we would like to put in place good marketing strategies, good research and good loyalty programs, but we don't have a budget of $500 million a year. We've perhaps got a budget of $5,000 a year or perhaps $50,000 a year at most. Where would you start? What's the most important?
I would say, if as a small business owner, everyone has basically got an Excel spreadsheet. So first of all, let's get back to the example I gave with the bakery. Start collecting business cards and contact details, and you can run it, as I say, a little promotional bowl in the front, and you can say, listen, win a $50 bakery voucher. And then once you've got all those business cards, take all that information into the Excel spreadsheet. Now you can put that either into MailChimp, and MailChimp is, again, free access, and you can do email marketing. MailChimp, you can pay more if you want to get a lot more, let's say, information or use out of MailChimp. But that can be done very cheaply. And then you can get SMS Portal, which is texting. So if you've got all their mobile details, all that you do is you put it into SMS Portal, and you can text your customers, and that costs 4 cents a customer, and you can say, Happy Father's Day, come into my bakery and get a free coffee for all fathers. But then the father will bring in the wife and the children, and they'll end up buying donuts and pies. So that is extremely cheap. You just have to spend some time as a small business owner and collect that customer data. Because as you build up your spreadsheets, that's going to be extremely powerful. And one day when you want to sell your business, Johan, you know yourself, if you say, listen, I'm selling my business as a bakery, but I have a database of 5,000, 10,000 customers. That's powerful.
That's right. Trevor, let's talk quickly about the Boston Consulting Group matrix. I did have a bit of a discussion about it our last episode of season 2, where I showed a bit of a graph, but it is a very important thing as well from a financial point of view, but also a marketing point of view. So Can you quickly explain this growth share matrix? Because this will help us decide which products are great, which products are okay, and which products you got to can, basically.
Okay, so to explain it simply, you got 4 quadrants in a square. It's a growth share matrix, and it was put forward by the founder of BCG, Bruce Henderson, in the 1970s. It still remains a powerful tool for managing strategic experimentation amid rapid and unpredictable change. So one of the biggest known portfolio models is the BCG matrix. And what it does, it analyzes the impact on investing resources in different business units on corporations' future earnings and cash flow. So the portfolio matrix classifies each strategic business unit by its present or forecasted growth in market share. And it's quite interesting. I've used this in a number of different ways, and I'll just give the listeners a bit of a quick brief. Like, you get the question marks in the 1 quadrant. These are products with a high market growth but a low market share. And it's the same as like stars, or products with like high market growth and then high market share. And then you get dogs, which are products with a low market growth and a low market share. And then you get cash cows with products with a low market growth but a high market share. Now, when I worked for Sony, we used this matrix, and you could put like the star might have been TVs. The problem children might be, let's say, car radios, and that's like the question marks. Cash cows might have been the high value cameras before mobile phones came out, and then the dogs might have been our speakers. So anyone in the manufacturing side can utilize this matrix. I've also categorized by utilizing certain products in bars and things to that effect. When you run, let's say, event bars, and you're only operating a small racing club and you're doing, let's say, 18 racing meetings, but you've got a variety of products that you could put in the bars, such as your vodkas, your Jack Daniels, your Tennessee whiskeys, your Jim Beams. Then you got your various beers like Hans Superdry, West End, Coopers. You can't actually have all these products, because what will actually happen is some of the products will turn into dogs and they'll expire because your customers won't buy them. But then you've got the cash cows, and the cash cows might be the important products like your Great Northerns that are selling very fast. And that's when you start working out what product line you should have that is actually going to generate the extra cash and be a star. So I think it's very important for especially people in the manufacturing side to actually focus on this. And I focused on this at a race club in Hunter Valley. And FY22 at our Gold Cup day, we had $9,000 in bar revenue. In FY23, I grew that to $39,398, represented a growth in sales of about 297%. And it was really cutting out the dogs that weren't selling and getting rid of sometimes the problem children or the question marks, and really focusing on moving products into the star and cash cow areas. And that's really important.
But you mentioned a question mark. I would almost say your question marks is products that can really be good, because there's a big market growth in there. You've got perhaps a small piece of the cake.
Correct.
But if you can focus on your marketing strategy, marketing research, that question marks can be turned into stars. And sometimes your cash goes, okay, you get a lot of cash in from, and I see that with some of my clients, there's a lot of cash coming in, but when you look at the profit margins, they're actually quite low on your cash cows. So your dogs are probably got to throw them out of the window. You've got to look at your product mix in total and to say, what's the future of this product? Where's my cash coming from? Where's my profit coming from? And how sustainable can it be? Because sometimes it's amazing how many small businesses out there are just like holding on to products that sells, but there's no bloody margin in it.
Correct. I think, and the easiest way to explain it, let's use Motorola years back when they had those big batteries, and that might have started off possibly as a bit of a cash cow and then moved very quickly into, let's say, the dog quadrant, because customers are wanting a lighter battery. They're looking for a slightly better mobile phone. And so then you found competitors coming in that produced better products that would be sitting in the cash cow product. And that's also got to do with your product life cycle, where if you are in the manufacturing business and you start off with, let's say, growth, introduction, and a mature and a decline stage, you should also know that if your products are moving into, let's say, the mature and the decline stage, like the Motorola battery, you then either have to get rid of it and do some research and create new products and bring them into the introduction, which will push them back into the stars or the cash cow area. And I think that's important, is really what we're saying out there, myself and you, is analyze the products that you have got and have a look at these 4 quadrants and ask yourself the question based on your market share and your economies of scale and your cost advantage relative to competitors. And then the market growth rate varies from industry to industry, but usually shows a cut point of around about 10%. Growth rates higher than 10% are considered high, while growth rates lower than % are considered low. So I think if we are talking to anyone in the manufacturing industry and they produce a variety of products, the BCG matrix is quite good because it gives you a snapshot of products that you might be wasting a lot of advertising dollars or if they're sitting in the dogs quadrant, and you might have to get rid of them. But could you move some of those question marks, as you've rightly said, into a star or cash cow? That's something that you need to look at. And it might be product development. I think a lot of business owners that are listening to your podcast, you can't stay in a comfort zone. There's going to be a competitor that's going to knock you out or possibly produce a better product. When you are a manufacturer, you need to be very mindful that your customer wants and needs are met, and there's going to be different product needs that they're looking for. And unless you keep competitive and change and continue to spend a lot of money on research and development, you're going to basically start losing market share. And I would think some of these bigger companies, if they use the BCG matrix and they saw their products going into the dog stage, they needed to make changes very quickly. So it's a good matrix to use.
Trevor, it was lovely chatting to you, mate. There's so much more. Marketing is a great subject. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. You know, Huang, having our little accent going in the studio. So we're sitting in the middle of Australia. We don't sound like Australians, but anyway.
Oh, thanks, Johan. I appreciate it, and I hope we've shared some of the topics that would help some of the business owners. Here's a good quote in wrapping up, and it's from Philip Kotler, who's a guru in marketing. Be a cause, not just a business. Have a higher mission.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. So it means get at purpose. Chase your passion. Make sure that you've got that vision. That's great. We didn't talk a lot about numbers today. It's probably been a few weeks now that we haven't talked too much about numbers. But no, I'm going to get stuck into the number stuff. But it's all about business. It's all about helping you to really get a clarity on your small business. At the end of the day, it's about increasing that margins. So, yeah, Trevor, you did talk about the first book you brought out. We'll put it on the show notes. And also, you're busy with another one.
Yes, Johan, I've just written another book, which is basically innovating the management of like country horse racing clubs, and it's sitting with a publisher. It's soon to be released on Amazon.com, but it's really just trying to help and share some of the ideas and strategies that can be utilized. And then I've got my first book, Obtaining Your Ultimate Results from the Loyalty Club, and this is, again, just trying to promote customer relationship management in marketing and how it can help businesses. Thank you very much for inviting me today, and hopefully we've shared some good strategies with some of your business owners.
It was great fun. Thanks, Trev.
Thank you very much.
Wow, we definitely covered a lot today. And I guess all the areas that Trevor mentioned just highlights the fact that marketing goes far beyond just pushing your sales or putting ads up on Google or socials or launching a promotional strategy. It all must be lined up with your overall business strategy. And that is why I'm such a firm believer that marketing and finance has to be married up. So Trevor is right. We did say earlier that you have to keep the bean counters out of the marketing engine room. Perfectly right. But it's also extremely important that your business departments must sing from the same hymn book. And I know I always bang on about this. Business is about clarity and purpose. That's my view anyway. So if you are a small business owner and want to achieve financial clarity, getting a better handle on your costs, your pricing, your budgets, your profit, your cash flows, and align your business for long-term success, then my upcoming business finance program would be perfect for you. Now, I will be launching this at the start of next year. It will be tailored to your specific challenges and goals, and we're going to focus on financial fitness and business muscle for long-term growth and financial freedom. I'll definitely update you with more detail in upcoming podcasts, but if you're keen to hear a bit more about it now, please go on my website and you can also get in line for an early bird discount. My website is yournumberman.com.au, or you can just hit me up on socials. All right, that's me for today. Thanks for supporting my podcast, and please stay tuned for more discussions on how to build a more profitable and sustainable business. Until next time, keep living your biggest and best life. This is Johan Zanik signing off as your number man. Ciao.